Hey guys.
Good morning. Can you hear me, Jonas?
Yeah. What about
Okay.
you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can.
Good.
Okay. I'm taking notes today. I'm sorry about last week.
No worries. Let's give it a few minutes.
Recording and standard antitrust policy should be up on the screen. You can find the policy linked to the Linux Foundation website as well as our project website. The policy is important where multiple companies, including potential industry competitors, are participating in meetings. Please review the policy, and if you have any questions, your first point of contact should be your company legal counsel. Members of the LF may contact Andrew Updegrove at the law firm of Gassmeyer Updegrove LLP. They provide legal counsel to the Linux Foundation. So that's that. And you guys want to kick off the JIRA discussion?
Yes. Alex, can you add your topic to the agenda, perhaps? Because I didn't capture it. So yeah, on Jira, I guess we have been looking at adopting ONAP Jira process, and I don't know if who has looked at it. We certainly took a look at it, and I think well, and Susan, feel free to jump in here, and also is Bharat here? Let's see here. Bharat is not here today. Okay. Well, in any case, it seems to be very close to what we are using. Obviously, in ONAP Jira, they don't assign points to the stories, which is fine. We don't need that either. That's more for sprint planning and things, and I guess that happens if a company is contributing. They do that internally. If an individual is contributing, he might not need that anyhow. So the lack of points is not a problem. Typically, that if you don't have any points, you won't get any burn down charts or any other type of reportings, but that's okay as well. A couple of things though, I guess in ONAP Jira, let's see if I can bring that up here. Jira onap.org. They have many projects, right? And they put them on the system dashboard. They also use Jira for other stuff, like for TSC items that needs to be created. And I think that's pretty cool as well. So let's do that. So I think we didn't have any real concerns with adopting that, right, Susan?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes,
Yeah.
no concerns with adopting it. It looks good.
And what was let's see here, we had a link from an earlier meeting. I just wanted to see, we had a link to their process. See if we can fetch that. Was that from last week? No, it wasn't. Let's see. Okay, this one then. No. This one then. Yeah, I think I will post that for everybody. The process. All right. Chat. There you have your Gmail. Perfect. This is the link to that process. And oh, if I can bring it up as well, perhaps. Can I share? Yep. Share. Zoom is great, but there are some things. Can you see tracking issues with Jira here?
Yes.
Yeah. So here, you have everything collected and you can look at it. I guess if nobody has reviewed this, we probably should give some time to you to do it and see if you feel comfortable. Specifically, companies that are actively contributing to this, to ODIM, because I think what we will do is that we will create stories. And if you look at creating stories, so obviously, okay, we should go to our Jira now instead. So we don't.
And I do have a question on this, Jonas, something
Yeah.
that came up in discussion. Who can access the LFN ODIM Jira? Do you have to have some kind of credentials
Yeah,
to
that was
log
that
in?
is a good point.
Yeah, you need to have a LFID for that.
So then we can't. So that means, Luis, effectively we cannot get rid of Git issues because we need the public to be able to log a bug or a suggestion for a new feature, and if they don't have access to Jira, where can they do it? Yeah, Git issues, right? So that means that now we have two places.
Well, they can't do it on Git issues if they don't have a Git login, right?
Correct. Yeah, I was going to say you need a login for either or. So for
Really?
so for Jira, for Jira you need a. Isn't that true for any Jira? Yeah.
Well, hold on. Let's take a look at Git. So now I'm on ODIM here, right? ODIM project issues. I'm not logged in. Sign in is there. New issue. Oh, actually, I have to log in. Huh. Okay. So, but the issue there, though, good point. So you have to have a Git login, and a lot of people do. But what about, is it fair to say, oh, we're not taking any new issues on Git, only in Jira, and have
Yeah, we
people...
should convert and just get one system of record for
But
everything.
then everybody needs to be an LF member in order to raise a ticket with us.
No, you do not
Well,
need to be
you-
an LF member. You just need to have an
Correct.
LF ID account.
Yes.
No different than having a Git account.
But okay, so you get an LF account in order to log a ticket with us, I guess. Okay, is that acceptable? Do you guys think? Or
I mean, you can also use Facebook, you can use Google, you can use your existing identities to log into these systems. So it really doesn't matter. You know, if you don't want to create an extra one, I think you can reuse one of the ones that you're likely to have already.
okay, so you don't need an LF account. It's enough that you have a Google or Facebook or something.
I believe so. I think there are options that you're given.
Is that true, Luis? Or do we know?
Yeah, I mean, if you go to the login page for ONAP, for example, you'll see that there are options that you can use your Facebook identity or Google something else.
Mm-hmm.
So same would be true, by the way, for ODIM. If you show up and you want to register, you can use one of those identities, I believe.
But that's just the authentication step. You still need to. You will be then
Redirected.
Yeah. Okay. Can somebody? Well, I mean, I could certainly, but I need to log out then, which is fine.
What's the advantage of keeping issues in Jira instead of GitHub issues?
So Jira has more features, right? We can, if we keep everything there, we can decide what is a bug, what is a story, and if it's a story, it's probably going to be a future feature, and then we can use those stories to plan for releases and things of those nature. There is release planning in Jira as well, and I think ONAP is using that for sure.
There's also integration with Confluence. So if you use your Confluence as a wiki, and if you run your projects on Confluence, you can embed Jira reports and other interesting things into Confluence.
The real power of Jira comes from aligning with the agile lifecycle, so that you have epics, stories, and tasks. The hierarchy there makes it super awesome, but you have to adopt that if you want to effectively use Jira.
Yeah.
The thing. Hi, Jim. By the way, the thing I think is, if we look at what ONAP has done, they have no points assigned to the story. So I guess that doesn't take away your point here, Jim. But I'm saying, it's not fully, they're not fully using it in an agile fashion.
But correct me if Kenny, you're on, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. There are priorities that you can assign as well, I believe.
Yeah, there are certainly priorities that can be assigned to any of those. But yeah, specifically, are we assigning points in that specific context? No. Is it 100% using the agile process? No. Is it following some of the concepts? Yeah. Are we getting a lot of benefit out of that? Absolutely. There's another aspect of using Jira that hasn't been mentioned thus far, and that is, by using that, it can also be federated with the other LFN projects.
Could you
Okay.
dive into that a bit? How do you mean?
So if there is if there's a bug that is being opened, it can be opened in an upstream project and cross-linked.
Oh, yeah, okay, I get you.
Yeah, and one of the things we're working on is, if we get involved with the demo, one of the things we want to do is federate our Jiras with from the demo up to perhaps ODIM and other projects, so that we can, like Kenny said, we can link it up to that particular project for upstreaming, and it's linked. So it would be helpful.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then how we use it, I guess. So in LFN then, is it Kenny? Are you using the epic and stories? Because normally the way we have used that internally is that we get a feature from some crazy product manager, and we look at it and we decide, oh, this is too much chunk of a work to be considered just a story. So we change it to an epic, and then we have stories under that. But it's more to divvy up the work than it is for anything else, right?
You can also drive capabilities in at least, my recollection of how this was done in ONAP is that when you decided on a project, that project contained a set of features, and you could create epics for those. Then you can kind of go get into the finer grain detail and user stories, and then you could get down to specific tasks that you can associate. You could prioritize them as well, and that was good enough.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I was poking at, so how are you guys in LFN using those different hierarchical concepts like epic, story, task, subtask? Is it to plan for work, or is it?
No, it varies by project, but different projects use it in very effective ways. So I really recommend looking into that.
I guess you have three. You don't have to use all three layers of hierarchy, but or four, I guess. But depending on the complexity of what you're working on, you may want to have that. Or if it's very simple, you don't need to, right? Again,
Alex, you're spot on. This is a planning tool. It helps you track your backlog of all the things you want to do and check them off when they're done. I mean,
yeah, we ran projects in ONAP that were being developed by multiple companies with different development practices or whatnot, but at least from a planning perspective, everything was kind of unified. And if it was something complicated that had lots of different moving parts, in essence, those could become epics. And then under those, you would create individual user stories that were persona driven, right? And then based on that, you would define tasks and subtasks for the development teams or the project teams to go implement. So, you can shortcut for some of that if the project is simple enough. But so far, we've got what? We've got two projects in essence, the way I kind of see it. If we were going to map things, one is the kind of the core ODIM, with inclusive of all the plugins and everything else. And then you've got the emulator, right, which is a separate thing. And it doesn't, it's not part of the distribution that we would end up, shipping, quote unquote, to companies that want to productize it.
Yeah.
So
we
to
know that,
me,
but I was thinking, it's difficult to maintain two processes in parallel. So, like for instance, for HPE, we have a process in Jira internally where we look at features and we turn them into the different level of objects, like
yeah,
an epic or a story. And
Jonas,
I was
this is open source,
so
right?
is it okay that I finish it here, Alex?
Yeah.
Or I just wanted to point out. I just wanted to get to the point. It's one thing there is that we cannot have the same level of planning in the project and create stories and tasks and then maintain that on the HPE side as well, because that would be too much synchronizing between. So what we would do is we would probably tag it into a feature level, perhaps on an epic level or something, and then we would recreate that internally. That's our plan. Do you see any issues? Sorry.
We did that at Intel, I believe, on the ONAP project. We've attempted to kind of synchronize what we did internally with Jira and what we did in ONAP, and we decided not to at some point. So we just simply referred to, we did all the planning using the ONAP tools. And then internally, we just developed we had a developer environment for ONAP and we just did the work, but everything else was kept in the ONAP Jira.
Okay,
And
yeah.
This is Kenny.
Yep. Go ahead, Kenny.
Paul. Every open source community and every company has the issue you're describing.
Yeah.
Right. It's not unique to HPE by any stretch of the imagination. And every company that is providing contributions to an open source project needs to figure out how internally they are going to adopt what the open source project is. Any company that has tried to drive their process into an open source community, that normally fails.
Yeah.
So it's not my impression that we're trying to drive the open source community to do, for example, what we do in HPE. That's not the request here at all. More to your point, though.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry if it appeared I was applying that. I wasn't. It's a common misperception.
But Kenny, you're absolutely right. Every company's got to deal with this. So it looked like in ONAP that for an open source developer, you can clearly see the epics that are being worked on. And there's a level of detail in ONAP that seems like a reasonable one for us to adopt here as well. And then every company participating is going to have more details in their own systems that may go into, lower level stuff. Is that a fair statement for how a lot of open source projects with many contributors work? Kind of following on from what you said, Kenny, do you want to say more about that?
I think you've summarized it very well.
Okay.
So is it fair to just say then that we would adopt the same model as ONAP, and then once we get new items in there, we would decide if they're epics or whatever they are, and take it from there. I think different projects might adopt different. Like for instance, if let's say Intel is driving the emulator project for a while, perhaps that project will break it down to tasks and subtasks, but another company might not, or another project might not.
I would say, I mean, look, let's try and use it the way it's been defined. I also think that, you know, epics are meant to be groupings of user stories, right? So if you don't have more than one, then you don't need to have an epic. So you can kind of adjust exactly what you do, but ultimately what you track is development tasks. And that should work okay for everybody, right?
Sorry, what was your point? That we need to track the development tasks?
I'm just
at the
saying we don't
story
necessarily
level,
have
or
to. Different projects will have different degree of complexity, and that will
Yeah.
determine what, you know, how you describe the work to be done. But the least common denominator everywhere is a task or a subtask. Everything above that is just a way of organizing related items.
Can you, if you summarize what that your point here would mean to the process, that would help.
Well, so I mean, I'm agreeing that we should use the ONAP process. That process allows for the flexibility of organizing things into epics and user stories, and then relating tasks to the user stories. But if you don't have multiple epics defined, you don't have multiple maybe use cases or multiple complex features, there's no need to create an epic. You can just create a single user story and break it down into tasks. So what I'm saying is we can adopt the process in whole, but then, you know, the level of complexity would be determined by the project itself.
Okay, that sounds good. I think we're agreeing.
Yeah.
Do we need to vote on adopting this, or just fine with?
I don't know if we have quorum today.
Yeah.
In fact, we
Intel,
don't.
HP, we have. Do we
We
have
don't
anybody
have,
from AMI? No.
We don't have. Do we have AMI?
Yeah, I'm Divya. I'm here.
Oh yeah, hi Divya. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
But are you on TSE? Is the question.
I think so.
Well, we have a list of voting members, Jonas. It should be pretty easy to find out who is supposed to be voting on what.
If not me, Muthu might be having this voting option.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to follow the rules. The people.
So let's not vote today, but I think we should. I think we should just record that we are in agreement, and then we just put it up for vote next time. Joe's, I think, Divya is starting.
Yeah, he's from AMI.
Yeah, he is, but I kind of picked up from him that he's been busy with other stuff. So if you guys want to perhaps keep you as a alternate or whatever you guys want to do, because today we don't have anybody from AMI that can vote. Perhaps if we do.
Okay.
It's up to you guys, but let's vote next time about it. I just record now, or Susan will record that we agree that we adopt this model. Then there is another topic, and sorry for this taking so long, and that is, what do we do with our existing issues in Git? Should we try to convert them over? Are there tools in such case, or?
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same of Kenny and company. Do you guys collectively provide any? I mean, does Elephant provide the tools to export and import?
I believe they exist. We didn't do that with ONAP, obviously, because we started off that way.
Yeah.
But that's certainly something that on our side we can take back and find out. But I believe the tools exist.
I think we have 38. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
We have 38 open issues that we would need to look at. So I think 4 or 5 of them are probably going to be able to be closed. So it's not a huge task to just convert them over manually, one by one. unless you have something that people have used before, of course.
I would imagine that Atlassian would provide tools to import into Jira. I mean, that would, kind of would make sense given how they do development and community outreach. So.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take this action item. I also think the ones that are closed in Git, it's probably good to have a record, even in Jira, of the closed record so that we have it. So let me take that and see what we have to pull them over.
Okay. And then, so to prevent people from logging new issues in Git, is there anything that the ONAP team did for that, or are you just simply advising people to go to Jira and log it? Or how did you do?
We never used it. We started with Jira.
Oh, yeah.
Are we able to lock the Git account from future issues?
New features.
That's what I was.
Yeah. Sorry.
Is
Yeah.
that a
exactly.
possibility? Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
You should be able to, I believe.
But I'll add that to my action item.
Okay. Yeah. So if we can check on that, because it's good if no new issues would come in, I guess.
Absolutely. And the only question is, well, I'll come back with the input and then we decide when to implement. But let me at least do the groundwork first.
Okay.
Jonas, I have to drop. I have another meeting that I apparently have to go to. So we can discuss the topic maybe another time, or I can write an email.
Yeah, okay. I saw you added it. So perhaps we move that to next week then.
Well, or we can achieve some consensus over email, and if so, then maybe we do something else. But I have to drop, unfortunately.
Yeah, sorry for staying on this topic so long. Okay, cool. Good. So we're done with Jira, I guess. A couple of outstanding issues. We will check there if we can convert from Git to Jira issues, Jira stories. Actually, they're called issues in Jira as well. Story is a type of issue, I guess. And then we will also check if we can lock the Git account. Nice. What else was there? There was this marketing liaison between LFN Marketing Advisory Council that you have added.
Yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen real quick on this one. Let me know if the agenda came up on the screen. So as a member of LFN, we're entitled and encouraged to have a member, a representative on the Marketing Advisory Council. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I left a comment with the blurb of the responsibility of the MAC, the Marketing Advisory Council, as well as the duties of the liaison from the ODIM community. And so again, just read that. I'm not going to go through line for line, but what I like to do is see if anyone's interested in being the liaison to the MAC. On some past projects, we just did a simple vote. We could just do a chat vote if anyone wants to volunteer for it. It's open to anyone who wants to sit on the advisory council. I believe they meet once a month, and I think the time commitment is like 1 to 2 hours a month for the MAC call. So I just want to put that out there. I left the link to the LFN Marketing Advisory Council website, wiki page, and also again the blurb in the comments about what it really entails. So again, every LFN project's encouraged to have a MAC representative, and we like to, we want to extend that out to, obviously, to ODIM as well.
Yeah. So how does it work? I mean, obviously we can just have volunteers, but is this something you vote for inside your individual project, or or is it up to the project, whatever?
It's really up to the project. I mean, we could just do a simple +1 vote on chat if anybody volunteers. On the other project, we actually did a vote. It was just a simple email vote. and we can do it or not do it, or we could just do it, a simple chat vote, any way you want to. I guess the first step is to get one or more volunteers, right? And then to go on the council, and then we can vote from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think everybody here would then just think about it, and then perhaps next week we put forward some volunteers, and we can vote then, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, feel free to reach out to the mailing list if you're interested in volunteering and nominating yourself as the MAC liaison. That'll be great, and then we can cover it next time, or the next week or two.
And that runs for a year or 6 months, and then you get a new one.
Good question. I believe it's a year. Let me double check. I don't think it's permanent. I think it's pretty much yearly, but let me just double check with Brandon. Brandon Wick is his contacts at the bottom. If you have detail, that's a really good question for Brandon. I'm going to go ahead and ping him in the background. But any questions can come to me and Brandon, and we'll cover them. And that's certainly one of them.
Okay, sounds good. That's so. What do they do, if you would summarize what the Marketing Advisory Council Board is up to? Is it like just common marketing efforts?
Yeah, I mean, we could just go down the list. There's six, pretty much 6 objectives here. We're interfacing with the governing board and set goals for marketing and outreach around the marketing efforts. Again, it's I guess we could read them all here, but they're pretty much right here. It's all the the marketing objectives and outreach programs, and anything we can do to help promote our community.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
Especially coordinating with external events and trade shows and things for promotion.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think yeah.
I wanted to jump in here. We have a staffer called Mike Wooster. He's our LFN biz dev guy. He can reach out to other communities and or companies if we give him a plan. So think about that.
Is he on this Mac thing, Jim, or?
He's on staff on LFN and doing biz dev in general.
Okay. Yeah, I think I spoke with him a couple of times. Good. Anything else on this topic? Otherwise, I propose next week we put forward, or perhaps we do it over email. We put forward some volunteers, and then next week we can do a formal decision.
That'll be good. I'll send an email as a follow-up to the mail group, and then we can, with a call to action if anybody wants to nominate themselves for the position.
And how much time do you spend on this? It was more like you said 2 hours a month, or what did you say? Sorry.
Yeah, right here. Again, this is a standard line, so but the expectation is about 1 to 2 hours a month. And it's to attend, preparation, obviously, and any follow-up, but also to attend the monthly MAC call.
Yeah.
And then, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. And then we had this LFN Developer and Testing Forum. Did you add that as well?
Yeah, I did add this one. So we had talked about this already. So I just want to remind folks that we do have this coming up. I guess one of the things, so obviously there's a place for ODIM, and we're ahead of the game, so there's not too many updates yet. But one of the things I wanted to point out, let me just come here, is if somebody's interested in being the program committee lead for ODIM, it would go a long way just to help coordinate and develop what we want to talk about as far as sessions and webinars. So if anyone's interested in helping out and being a technical lead and a program lead, it could certainly be helpful.
Cool. Anybody on the call that don't talk all at once?
Yeah, we'll just get streaming. Always the case. But nobody has to answer it now. But we've talked about this I think last week as well. But yeah, so it's available to help lead the discussion, help lead align the messaging. We certainly want to. We had talked about the demo. So maybe we can do something around alignment with the demo. I haven't seen ODIM on that call in a couple of weeks. Just saying. So
well, I think we decided Daniel will attend.
I was there. Yeah, I was there yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, I
cool.
apologize, Daniel. I did not see you. I was pretty busy during that call. Sorry for that.
Yeah, and there was a lot of, you even called me out by name, so I think you saw me.
I probably did. I'm bad that way.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the first time. So sorry.
Any updates from that, Daniel? If we're done with the MAC?
So from my side, I'm just trying to understand the scope of the current 2021 demos and also the super blueprint. I think there is a good kind of fit to the super blueprint, and I'm trying to wrap my head around how we can fit into the demos, and that's not very clear to me yet. My plan for this week was to try to have a quick call with Bob, and maybe Jonas, you want to join in as well, or someone else, but to kind of get his view, as he has been in this call for longer, and this was my first call. So
yeah, absolutely. If you set up a call, just fire off the invite to me as well. That would be good.
Yep.
Yeah, if
but
you
I think
could send that to me also, I wouldn't mind sitting
I'll
in
do
on
that. Yeah. And I just want to understand if there is any thinking about the demo part. So in my view, there is two parts, right? You have the demo part and we have the super blueprint. And I think for the super blueprint, there is a lot of good challenges that potentially we can solve on this kind of complex setup of this blueprint. So get our logo in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I also the current demo, what we're calling the demo 2021, which is the work that's ongoing. If we could possibly fit a current or the next release code into that one, that's going to be showcased like at ONES. So that would be good for us if we can. If we think we have a place there, because the super blueprint's probably operationally probably like 2022. I'm guessing. It's out there, because it's very, we're right at the start of it. Whereas the demo for the fall is coming up and it's actually in progress and they're working on it. So if we have a place there, that could be really good. I just don't know, if we fit there.
Yeah, my challenge right now is to understand that we have a place. It's not obvious that there is a place in one of these three demos, because the kind of goals of those demos are very different from what we are trying to achieve.
Break.
And it's very basic to showcase kind of the basic environment with basic applications on it, and it's not really the complexity and scale that would be a good showcase. But I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah, because if we have like a use case, just very basic, infrastructure management use case that we could show, it could, because we're sort of a background application, right? So even something like that, I think it may get some interest, just to show our basic functionality as a use case. I think we have to sort of promote a use case, right? And to add on, I think we might be able to do that if you thought we had something compelling.
If I might.
Yeah, absolutely.
ANUKET is a project all about infrastructure. They have a sub-project that probes the underlying infrastructure for compliance. I think y'all are connected to that. And if not,
could you name it?
Yeah, PDF.
PDF.
Sorry, having some construction outside of my house.
Did you say PDF? Like,
Yeah, it's a pod descriptor file. It's based on a description of a certain amount of hardware. Anyway, the airship installer has a concept of validating hardware in advance of deploying the OpenStack.
Yep.
Are you all engaged in that?
I don't know if everybody is, but we have been on the airship calls. We are discussing a contribution from HPE to the Ironic project to make airship work with ODIM. Obviously, that has not been making progress at a rate I would like to see, but it's something we're planning on picking up here again fairly soon. So that way we could get airship to work very well with ODIM, and hopefully make it less of a problem to move from vendor platform to vendor platform. That's
Jonas,
something that we're doing.
I respect your opinion. However, I want to up the ante a bit.
Okay.
We want to make this a baseline requirement. What this is, I don't know, but we're talking about badging at the LFN level. I'd really like to see that there's a corresponding specification at the Redfish, I'm sorry, ODIM level that would also apply to the specification.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking I was with you there for a while, and then when you started talking about specs, I got a little confused. What specs are you talking about?
In general, just aligning the specifications for ODIM and NUCAD. As I said, I'm getting construction here.
Yeah,
so
I hear you. There's some hammering on your door, hopefully. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I guess the specs we are aligning, we're trying hard to align with, is the MTF. But there might be some blueprints and stuff in Airship that, and they have different release trains. I think they have the 2.0 and the 1.8, and we've been focusing on 2.0, I guess.
So linking up with them would be very powerful.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's a really good idea, and we always thought so. And for some reason, we didn't get there before, and hopefully now we should fairly quickly. Oh, sorry.
James Gu is the project manager or PTL. I'll shoot you a link.
Yep, I talked to James a few times. Sorry, I was inhaling some water here. Not a good idea. Yeah, so that's good. And perhaps on a project level, we should try to have some sync with them rather than just HPE getting on airship calls. That might be. Perhaps let me reach out to James then and see if we can get on a call with him and see where we are with things. I think it's a good opportunity for ODIM to, if we could be the de facto vehicle to abstract away vendor differences, that would be a good thing for us. Good. Anything else for today?
That's all from my side. Anything else before we adjourn?
For me, I think it's good to end.
Hello?
10 minutes. Yeah, somebody has something? Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really faint. Vivian, is it?
Yeah, I forgot. It's my mistake. I'll be getting it now.
I think she's unmuted by mistake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It-
I don't think she has a
Okay,
question.
that might be a. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Have a good day then, and talk to you guys next week.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Good one. Bye-bye.
Thank you.